My friends, welcome to this episode of the Outdoor Gear Review. I hope you all are doing well. I just made it up here to the outskirts of the Green Forest, to a campsite that I've not been to in quite a while, numerous months. To get up here, I took the long, easy route, which involves an old forest road that is very much exposed. You may remember there's two ways to access this site. One is through the woods. It's shorter, but really difficult. Then you have the forest road. It's easy, but it's super long. The reason why I took the forest road this time is because this forest is soaking wet. I just didn't feel like wearing my rain pants, and I would have to have. You can see all of the ferns behind me. This entire forest is basically covered in these. And I like to refer to these as car wash ferns or car wash plants, because it's like going through a car wash. You're walking through, you're getting soaking wet. Anyways, folks, we've made it up here. The temps are not bad. It's about 70 degrees, something like that. The humidity is off the charts. It is very muggy, very sticky. But get this, everyone. Today is the last hot and sticky day for at least a while. There's a big change coming, and I can't wait. We will talk about that a little bit later on. For now, there's something that I need to do. If you're an experienced backpacker, hiker, camper, you know what that is. I need to get protection set up. On these very warm, humid summer days, protection is priority number one. Once you have protection set up, you're on easy street. You really don't have to worry about anything else. So that's what I'm going to focus on now. Let's get to it. As you all can see here, the tarp has been set up. We did that super fast. Luckily, we have a lot of trees here, so we have a lot of options as far as the setup goes. Every time that I head out on a trip, I do the hiking and whatnot, I go to set up my tarp. As soon as I get that done, I let out a sigh of relief. I know from this point on, I have protection. No matter what is going to happen, I'm going to be okay. Because it's so warm, because it's so humid, I went ahead and I set this tarp up high. I didn't set it up for maximum protection. I set it up for maximum airflow. If a big storm comes in, I may change the setup or just put on my rain gear. We'll see what happens, of course. With that being said though, there is just a little bit of a breeze making its way through the forest going underneath this tarp, and it feels good. I'll tell you what, since we got this set up, I'm sure you all know what I want to do next. I want to set up my tent. Wait until you see this thing. It has been a long time since a tent made me say, wow. This is a tent that has done that. This is a 2-person tent. It weighs 2 pounds. It is incredibly lightweight. For this adventure, this is the tent that I'm using. This is from Nemo. This is the Hornet Elite Osmo. And again, everyone, this is a 2-person tent that weighs right at 2 pounds. It is incredibly lightweight. The form factor is very impressive, and the materials are quite impressive. When it comes to ultralight tents, the vast majority are made from a seal nylon. Seal nylon is very strong. At the same time, it's very lightweight, but it has a huge problem. When it's wet, it stretches like crazy. This tent here does not have that stretching problem because Nemo has come up with a proprietary type of fabric that blends polyester with nylon, and it continues to be ultra lightweight and very strong. That, my friends, is one of the reasons why I am out with this tent here. I wanted to see what was new with Nemo. I wanted to see the best of the best as far as what's from this company. And right here you have it. Hopefully it will perform like the best. We are now only a few steps away from having camp completely set up. So far, so good as far as the weather goes. We have that little bit of a breeze, feels nice. Humidity, 100%. Thankfully, we have that breeze. Warm weather camping, as I've said 100 times, is all about airflow. You have to have that movement of air to be comfortable, and thankfully, we have it today. Before I fire up this stove and make the best cup of coffee in the entire world, let's talk about stoves and fuel for a moment. And I'm gonna talk about this because over the last week, I've received 4 emails from individuals talking about different types of stoves, but they were all talking about using fuels that were not intended for the stoves that they had. This, everyone, is a really bad idea. In fact, I need to do a video on this, a public service announcement telling people not to mix and match fuels. As the saying goes, just because you can doesn't mean you should. You have to consider this, folks. Every stove is different. Some stoves are designed to run on many different types of fuels. Some stoves are designed to run on one type of fuel. Something that most people do not realize is that each type of fuel has its own pressure level. The most common fuel for backpacking purposes is isobutane, and that runs at roughly 31 psi. Propane, those 1 pound containers, 145 psi. That is exactly the reason why you cannot mix and match unless a stove is designed to do so. You can go out there, you can purchase an adapter, put it on a stove that it was not designed for, and you could potentially run, let's say it's an isobutane stove, you could run propane on it for a while until something gives out and you have a big problem, possibly an explosion. Please everyone, do not mix and match your fuels unless a stove was specifically designed to do so. I do not want anyone to get hurt. That's why I don't use adapters 99% of the time. And that's because 99% of the stoves out there are not designed to be used with every type of fuel type. Most backpacking stoves are designed to run on isobutane and isobutane only. So folks, please be smart, be safe. Just because a stove runs fine on a different type of fuel for a while does not mean down the road it's not gonna blow up in your face, so please be smart. That's the face of someone who just drank something unbelievably good. High octane. The best. You know what I mean? Fellas, if you're thinning hair up here, drink some of this. Ladies, if you drink some of this, you're gonna be shaving every day. Let me elaborate. You're gonna be shaving your... Allow me to elaborate. You're gonna be shaving your faces every day. Forever. Think about it. That tastes like ambition and slight regret. Anyways, folks, as far as the time goes, I'm not entirely sure what it is. I forgot my watch. Yeah, my phone is in my pack there. It's around 4 o'clock. The breeze has really turned more into a light wind, which is really, really nice. Every once in a while, it'll be strong enough to make its way through the forest here, and it feels so good. It is awesome. Talking about the cool down that's coming. Check this out, everybody. Today, it's going to be, I want to say the high up here is going to be like 73, something like that. Tomorrow, it's 68. The next day, it is in the 50s as the high. There's one day next week, the low up here at this elevation will be in the 30s. Hopefully, I'll be able to camp out in it. We shall see. But that's a taste of fall coming on strong, folks. And I cannot wait. This has been the warmest, most humid summer that I can remember. I thought last year was bad. I was wrong. Last year was incredible. This year has been borderline awful. And yes, I know I'm spoiled up here in the mountains, but we're all accustomed to what we're accustomed to, so it's been a rough year up here. The thing is, it's been really, really hot, really, really humid, and every single day we've had knockdown thunderstorms. Let me tell you all about the storms yesterday. Yesterday afternoon around 5 p.m., heavy rain began falling. It lasted maybe an hour and a half. In that hour and a half, we received 4.5 inches, folks. All of a sudden, everything is flooding, right? Including those creeks, which I've talked about around my house. Luckily, it didn't cause a lot of damage, just made a huge mess. So I went up to my dad's house to see what his place was like. So he has a house right here, right? Behind the house, there's this tiny little stream, and it's like a wet weather stream. But if it rains 4.5 inches in an hour, that turns into a full-size creek. Well, there's a culvert that starts at the back of the house, and it actually goes down the side of the house, down the driveway, into the main creek, which comes down to my house. That little culvert that goes along his house must have a rock in it. Anyway, so it was partially stopped up. We were working to get it undone. I'm inside of this ditch, up to my waist in water. We have this 40-foot long pipe that we sharpened to a point, and I'm ramming it into that culvert. Finally, I was about to give up. I busted through. I was able to get all of the debris that's around that rock inside of that culvert to let go. The water drained, everything was good. The rock is still there. We still have to get that thing out, so that's a project for another day, but it's a project that has to be done. I have to be honest, doing stuff like that, as miserable as it sounds, getting super wet, super filthy, it's still kind of fun. Being out in the rain with your dad, working hard, trying to solve problems. Yeah, it's fun. It's definitely fun. As an update, everyone, we are going on to a little bit after 6 o'clock. Still no rain, no storms. But ever so often, it looks pretty dark, like it's going to rain, but it hasn't. Dinner tonight, everyone, should be interesting. This is a new meal from a company called Trail Goods Company. Stir-fried pork noodles. Let's give it a shot. It looks like the cloud level is dropping down. Interesting. That definitely tells us that things are taking place in the atmosphere. It doesn't mean that it's going to rain, but it could. Oh, there's freaking gnats everywhere. This bag is actually broken. All of those are gnats. trying to get in my food. Overall, this is not bad. But if you're someone who wants or needs like really strong flavor, this is not it. You can taste the noodles, a little bit of salt. You can taste the pork vaguely, and there's just like a little bit of heat. It's not bad, but it's not a flavor explosion in your mouth. On my scale from 0 to 10, 10 being the best, 5 being good, this is a 5.5. In last week's adventure, I spoke about how important it is to be prepared to defend yourself if you have to while you're out backpacking, camping, and whatnot. Just in case you didn't see last week's episode, I was just talking about how crimes do happen, violent crimes, in remote areas. Unfortunately, there's some people who will prey upon others in remote areas just like this. Unfortunately, my friends, there's a news story breaking right now where this has happened. So I have my phone here to go over some notes just to make sure I get this right. Apparently, a couple in their 40s, they were hiking with their 2 young daughters at a location called the Devil's Den State Park in Arkansas. Apparently, while out hiking on some trail, they were attacked by a single individual, and he murdered the husband and the wife, but he let the kids go. 4 days later, after the killing, the individual who'd committed these crimes was arrested. He is 28 years old from Springdale, Arkansas. And apparently he was a teacher. That's all it says about him. It says here that the attack occurred on the Devil's Den Trail. As of right now, the time of filming this video, that is all that is known about that case. By the time this video goes up, you likely know already more than I do. This is a terrible example of what I was talking about. And this is why you have to be prepared, at least somewhat, to protect yourself, to protect your family. When you go out hiking, camping, backpacking, all that stuff, the odds are nothing's going to happen, right? I've been camping my entire life. Nothing bad has ever happened. But I have encountered weirdos out on the trail, out in the middle of nowhere, places you would not expect it. All it takes is for someone to have the right opportunity to get the jump on you, right? This one individual killed 2 people. I mean, stuff like this does happen. Super rare, it's uncommon, but it does happen. How would this situation be different if the husband, if the wife, had quick access to mace or bear spray or a firearm or something like that? Maybe even just a pocket knife. All of that, of course, is hypothetical, and I am not blaming the victims at all. In a perfect world, nobody would have to worry about stuff like this, but unfortunately that's not the case, right? Stuff like this happens in the United States. It happens everywhere. There's no place on this planet that is free from crime and just flat out evil. When I saw the headline for this story, I was in shock. I was just talking about this, right? How terrible. Folks, if you're going to head off on a hiking trail, if you're going to go camping, remote, semi-remote, maybe not even all that remote, you should consider some form of self-defense. The odds are you'll never have to use whatever it is that you bring with you, but it's best to be prepared. Think of it like your gear, right? In this case, I brought this tarp with me just in case it rained. I brought my rain jacket with me just in case it rained. I have this fleece jacket just in case I get cold. You have to prepare for the unknowns, the what-ifs, as realistically as possible. I saw that headline and I thought we should talk about it. moving on to nicer, more pleasant subjects. As it stands right now, it's getting a little bit foggy. Not super foggy, but we're definitely up here in the clouds. Alright everyone, I am pretty much ready for bed outside of brushing my teeth and all that stuff. Now you may have noticed I put all of my food bags, cook bags, garbage and all that stuff in this chair. I want to explain why I did that, why I can do it, and why you might not be able to. While there are black bear in this area is so remote that those black bears have not had enough time, enough experience to develop bad habits with humans. And because of that, I can keep my food out here and I'm not going to have a problem. But let's say that this was a different location, a place that a lot of people camped at, where bears and humans were having a lot of interactions. Bears were learning bad behaviors. Keeping food out like this would be very dangerous. So I want to make sure that just because you see me doing something does not mean that you should. Not unless certain criteria are met. For an example, if you're camping out on the Appalachian Trail, you better use a bear bag, bear canister, or something like that. Do not do this. You're asking for trouble. If you're camping out in the Smoky Mountains National Park, you're asking for big trouble doing something like this. If you're camping out here, things are going to be okay. Just in case you haven't seen this style before, as far as like prepping food, leaving it behind in camp and whatnot, this is practiced all around the world, including in areas with high bear populations such as Alaska. Again, it's all about being remote. It's all about having those bears being afraid of humans and whatnot. There's black bear out here. They know that I'm here. They can smell me. They can hear me. And they want nothing to do with me. Even with this garbage here, it's not worth the risk. It's when these animals lose that fear that they become dangerous. As you all can see, I'm inside of the tent now. Let me tell you, folks, it's warm. And it's not just warm because I'm inside of this tent, but rather the temp outside has actually gone up. There was one point where I was cool. That's why I put the sweater on. But over the last hour or so, the temp has gone up for sure. I was ready to take that jacket off when I got inside of this tent. It is very sticky right now. Very hot. I do have a thermometer with me, but I haven't been paying attention to it all day, so I'm not really sure where we were and where we're at, so it doesn't matter. My plan is pretty simple. I'm going to kick back, relax. I might watch a movie. I have one on the phone here. If I do, I'll talk to you all in the morning about it. As far as the time goes, it is just a little bit after 9 o'clock. At 5 o'clock in the morning, I'll be making you some coffee. And you'll regret it for the rest of your life. But you'll appreciate the energy for the day. Oh yeah. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. 5 o'clock came quick, I tell you. It finally cooled down. That was interesting. It's like last night, it just got so hot. I don't know. I am ready for this temperature change. Oh. Is it wet this morning? Yes, it is. It is super foggy. It's almost like it's raining. Last night, it did not rain though, and that's okay. I was able to keep the door of the tent open last night, enjoyed awesome ventilation. I stayed nice and cool. Once it actually cooled down, that fan helped tremendously. Ultimately, I slept great in that tent. And now everyone, I'm ready for some coffee. How about you? Not bad. Not bad at all. Oh, man. Oh, woman. Good morning. It's about 5:30 now. I see just a little bit of light in the sky. The weather today is basically going to be a repeat of yesterday. Some people got rain yesterday, some people didn't. Today is going to be the same. We dodged basically everything yesterday. We had some storms around us, nothing super close. Couldn't even hear any thunder, but they were out there. In last week's adventure, I was talking about the importance of, protecting yourself. At the very end of that trip, we had hiked out to a cliff. I was going to show you this incredible view. And as soon as I started to go out to that cliff, I realized that the rocks were too wet, right? It just was not safe to go down there. If I could have gotten down to the cliff itself without getting hurt, I'm not sure if I could have gotten out. The rocks were super, super slick, just from the morning dew and all that stuff. Unfortunately, there's a story from my area where I live. Well, I should say relatively close to where I live. This individual was hiking out on another cliff. We're in the mountains, there's lots of cliffs. He slipped and fell on the wet rocks, went off the side, and died. Folks, you stay off the rocks when they're wet. You take no chances. They'll be as slick as glass, as ice. The article stated it was a couple from Florida, I believe. The wife, all she saw was her husband fall and disappear. Unfortunately, here in the mountains, stuff like that happens fairly often. I want to say maybe 2 or 3 times a year, we'll have someone slide off of a rock somewhere. They're dangerous. I have to be honest, this cup of coffee is substantially better than the one I made yesterday. I do have to say, folks, yesterday I actually made 2 cups of coffee. The first one I had a few sips from, and it was incredible. You know me, best taste. I was moving the camera around and I knocked it over. What a bummer, because it was so tasty, you know? So I actually had to make another one. That tripod right here gets in the way, everyone. It hits everything. Last night, everyone, I did watch a movie. I watched Copland with Sylvester Stallone. That movie basically reinvigorated his career. Basically, he had disappeared from the movie scene for a long time, and that brought him back. I love that movie. It is fantastic. I like Sylvester Stallone in that role because he plays like the everyday, average dude. He's not an action star. He has problems. Personally, I'm not a fan of movies where you have like the hero character. He knows he's a bad, and he doesn't take anything seriously. There's no emotion behind anything. My favorite part of the morning is coming on now. The forest is waking up, everything's coming alive. Birds are singing their songs. The squirrels are making their racket, whatever they do. It is going to be a good day, folks. My plan is to finish up this coffee here, break everything down, and hike out of here. Somewhere very, very close in one of these trees is an owl. They've been singing to me for the last 2 or 3 minutes. How cool is that? Thank you for letting me stay here, Guardian. Guardian of the forest. With this Nemo tent, everyone, it performed incredibly well last night. Granted, we did not get any rain, but overall, I'm impressed so far. This tent is incredibly lightweight, and you will notice it. As soon as you put this in your pack, compared to your other tents, amazing. I mean, 2 pounds for a 2-person tent, that's impressive. My entire loadout weighs less than 25 pounds with food and water and a chair. That, everyone, is not bad. How cool is it that I get to break down my tent while listening to that? My friends, this adventure ends here. Thank you all so much for joining me for this trip. I really do appreciate it. Before you go, hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel a lot. Make sure to check out my second YouTube channel, A Quiet Place Adventures. Every Monday, a brand new adventure is uploaded. Until next time, take care and be safe. Strength and honor.